let's kick it off with tell me something good. I'm going to start it off by an agent on our team. She's brand new. She's brand new to the industry, and she just got her first buyer in contract. It's a win. Her name is Jenna. Why am I blanking on her name? Janae. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Sorry, Janae. Hopefully you never see this. But her name's Janae, and she got the person from an open house. So she followed up with them for 3 weeks, got them pre-approved. Is she working with you?
I'm not sure if I know what the client's name is. I do think we have one. They have like a
family friend. She got them pre-approved with a family friend, and they are in escrow. So boom. She joined the team recently. She got a new escrow. Awesome. I think it's a light room. Any other wins in the room?
I have one that I'm going to share when I.
Yeah, we'll save that for the meeting. Go ahead, Burgess.
We have a new listing coming live tomorrow in Folsom. You want to talk about that? I don't really know the details of it, but
oh yeah, super cool house. This is a cool house. It's got a swing. It's got like 18-foot ceilings in the living room, and it's got a swing coming down from it. Immaculately maintained. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. How many bedrooms? I think it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home in Folsom. And anyways, coming on, we got a new listing coming on in Folsom. So if you're interested, reach out to us. We also have I don't know if she did it, but Kim has a listing out in Oakland. If you have any clients looking out in Oakland, feel free to reach out to us there. It's a brand new, beautifully flipped home in Oakland. Any other wins anybody wants to share?
I got a price reduction, if that counts as a win, on a house out in Rio Linda.
Oh.
And so they dropped it down to $375. It's just been redone. A lot of people think it doesn't have a garage, but it does have a garage. It has a little sound studio in the garage, but we can take that out if you want us to.
Oh, okay.
All right.
375. Let's go. And then I see Misha on the call. Misha, you have to tell me something good. What good has been happening in your business these last few weeks?
I had a few close. I have a few listings coming up. But yeah, it's just follow up and things start to happen.
There you go. Magic in the follow-up. All right. So moving on off of tell me something good. Oh, another tell me something good here. Let me share my screen. Here's a little WhatsApp thread with the team. But here are some screenshots from what's been happening with what's been shared over at EXPCon. So zoom in. So number one, year leader in year-over-year growth by Real Trends. So that's a win. Number one in size. Number one top mover in not only size and sales volume, and the number one independent. Number one in transactions, and number 4 in sales volume. All right. So EXP is growing, and not only is it growing, but we're not increasing just the agent count, but we're also increasing the size of our businesses, the EXP business. And then we got so many windows open.
You know what agent count is right now? A roughly
90,000.
90.
And then you can kind of see what's happening in terms of the performance versus the industry. Overall, the market is down 21%. Boo. Down 21%. And yet EXP has expanded its market share by 7%. And here's a fun one. On average, EXP agents outperform the market by 30%. So some good stuff happening in EXP. You guys are in the right room. You're in the right place with the right broker. Just want to share those wins. Yeah, let's clap a little bit for that. By the way, if you haven't already and you want to receive updates on when the upcoming Realtor Huddles, make sure you scan the QR code, enter in your info so we can send you out a notification every week about upcoming events and upcoming huddles. Speaking of upcoming events, we got Maui. Man, this is the one. This is the fun. This is gonna be so much fun, guys. If you have the ability, if you have the time, you're gonna want to be in Maui because this is gonna be a super intimate event. I think it's like 150 people. So imagine 150 of the top people at EXP all just hanging out, sharing dinners together, breaking bread, and having a good time. That's happening January 28th. You can register on brentgove.com. Also, so this is going to be like an intimate and fun, like quality event. This is going to be the fun one. So not only is this a fun event, but it's also celebrating Brent's birthday. So go ahead. It's happening at the beginning of March. Then you can register on brentgove.com. Make sure you get your tickets. It's an all-inclusive resort. You never even have to leave. Valerie loves that, right?
Yeah.
Right? You just wake up and there's food. You wake up and there's things to do. You wake up and there's people to hang out with, and you don't have to go anywhere or do anything. But if you do, there's tons of excursions and events as well. Coming up fast. Hard to believe we're already at this time of year. We have the business planning event of the year happening at PCAR, and Brent has sprung open his pocketbook and he's flying out Burl Workman. This is a guy who typically only speaks to crowds of 2,000 people or more, but somehow Brent twisted his arm and convinced them to come and speak at PCAR. And so hopefully we'll have a couple hundred people, 500 people in the room. And if it sells out, it sells out. We gotta maintain that relationship with PCAR. So please make sure that you get your tickets. Just go to Eventbrite and you can find them there. And then last but certainly not least, next week, in this same office, in the same place, in person, and we'll also stream it via Zoom, Cindy Silva is going to be speaking on open houses. So we just heard about how Janae, sorry, what the heck is my mind that? So sorry, guys. Janae, how we heard about an agent who got an escrow off of an open house. Cindy, let's see, I think it says down here in the details. Cindy got 3.4 million in sales one weekend off of an open house. Right now, that's a bit of an extreme example, but let's say you just got 1 million. Let's say you got one sale, a $500,000 sale off of an open house on a weekend. Let's say you just did that once a month. Wouldn't that be cool? Right? So learn about how Cindy does this. She's going to be here in person. So you're not going to want to miss that. Again, if you want to learn more, just hop on Eventbrite or scan that QR code that we threw up there earlier. If you already did that, then you'll be notified. But again, here in person, we're doing that. I think that's it in terms of events. So with that, Lindsay, what do you got for us in the wonderful world of learning?
All right.
Yeah, we're on track. Yeah, there we go.
Hi guys, I'm Lindsay Boris with the JJ Mack team, American Pacific Mortgage. It's a nice intimate group here. I know most of you. And so I wanted to share a cool win from this week and kind of segue into some of the options we have for maybe some of our lesser qualified buyers and clients, and how we've been able to get creative with some financing on that. So we have, from what I've heard, there's a little bit of a stigma around people using down payment assistance because they think it's a tedious and difficult process to get through. You have to have a longer escrow. It takes a little bit harder to get those files processed through. We have one with Nisha that'll be closing in the next week, and we're closing 10 days early.
Wow.
On a 30-day escrow because we're done. And it's really not, it's most of the time, depending on the down payment assistance program, 1 extra day for underwriting.
Right.
So it's not that it's a big drawn out process to have down payment assistance. It doesn't change your loan. Your sellers don't know, it doesn't make any difference for them as far as how the transaction plays out. So, and these are the same clients I shared about last week that they are getting this house with $0. So they're getting their escrow deposit back at closing. We increased that, and that was how all the offers were written. Increase the purchase price and requested credit back so that it was no difference for the seller when it came to how much money they net, but it makes a massive difference for our buyers.
Absolutely.
So closing early, no money out of pocket. They're super happy. It was a smooth transaction. So that was a great win. And then some of the ways down payment assistance obviously is an option. I think that as rates go up and more people are kind of edged out of the price point, the higher price points, their payments are higher. Some of those lower price point clients, we're able to get creative with financing in that way. Another thing that we've been seeing from some of our clients that we're maybe looking under that $300,000 range, that we're maybe looking at condos, have also branched out into looking at some mobile homes, which we do mobile home lending, and we have a couple different broker sources for that. The rates are really not that much worse, pretty comparable, really. The only difference is we can't use down payment assistance with those. So if they can come up with their own minimum 5% down payment, which on the mobile home price point is usually $5,000, $6,000. I mean, it's a relatively low amount. It could be a great option. And some of them, unless you saw the outside of these mobile homes, you really wouldn't know. Some of the insides are beautiful. And a lot of them are 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I mean, a big, large floor plan. So it can be a great secondary option for your clients that maybe are having a hard time getting, finding a condo that they like, or if they're only conventional, they're edged out of a lot of condos.
Mhm.
So, we can look at some different options there. So just wanted to share some different ways that we can help the clients that are maybe on the lower end of your qualifying. You think it might not be possible to buy a house, there could be some ways. So let me know if you have any scenarios you want to go through. I'd be happy to help with that.
Super helpful. And then any questions for Lindsay? I got one, but I want to.
Yeah, could you walk us through your zero down program, how that works?
Yeah, so there is an additional zero down program. I will say that it comes at a higher interest rate. So your whole financed amount is at a higher interest rate than if you get the down payment covered and then find an alternative way to get your closing costs covered, like we do with increasing the price point and getting a seller credit to cover that, because it can make a massive difference. It's about a point higher on an interest rate. So
So
It's an
so
option.
it's not really zero down, it's get the seller to cover the down.
well, I
That's the
mean,
program you just used for Venetia?
what we used was the down payment assistance program to cover the down payment, and then requested a credit back from the seller to cover all of the closing costs. So we increased the purchase price offer by $20,000. Your closing costs on those are a little bit higher because you have an origination charge. So
4%, which is a rough number.
I would say probably about between 4% and 5%. Because the origination charge is 1.75 or 2%. Depends. So, that obviously is going to eat up a big chunk of that money. Then you have your standard maybe 2-ish% of closing costs. So those together, we estimate about 4 or 5% of the price of the home. And then there is an option to get your closing costs covered through the program. It's just more expensive for the client. So if we can go the seller credit option, it's usually it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
What's my question? I don't remember my question. That's such a good question, Barry. Yeah, I lost Lindsay.
That's okay.
All right. Any other questions for Lindsay? How do we get a hold of you, by the way?
Yeah, so my cell phone is 916-801-9409. If you're part of the Made for More team and you're on the WhatsApp thread, you'll see me on there every 20 or 30 minutes or so. So please, you're welcome. Yeah, you can message me privately through there and I can give you my cell phone. I think that's how I've connected with most people. But that's my cell phone.
One more time,
916-801-9409.
All right, there we go.
All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you
All right,
soon.
thanks, Lindsay. All right, so I'm just gonna sit. I'm just gonna turn this thing and sit here because I get to be the speaker for today. Because Johnny forgot to line up a guest speaker. So, anyways, I came prepared and I have something fantastic for you. I actually ran this. Val and I were talking about this the other night, and we were thinking, hey, this is something that we really want to share with the group. And so, quick story. I was out on a listing appointment on a rural property earlier this week. And as I'm walking around the house, this guy, he just dark circles under his eyes. He's got 3 kids. Like you can tell this dude is tired, right? And I talk, hey, what do you do for a job? And he's like, I work nights, So, and I'm there probably around 6 o'clock when we were talking, 5:36 when we were talking in the evening. And so I was cutting into his sleeping time. Like he's supposed to be asleep right now and wake up in a couple hours, goes to work at 10. And so he's tired, and we're walking around the property and he's showing me all the different things that he has the intention to do or has started to do or wants to do at some point to the property prior to putting it on the market. And so there's this berm that needs to get cut back so that way he can turn his trailer around, make it easier, for the next buyer to be able to utilize the property. He's got 30 chickens, 2 pigs, 9 turkeys, a couple cows, that he's responsible for and taking care of, him and his family, right? They do this, that it's part of their, not 4-H. What's the other thing that they do? It's like range. FFA. There's something, it's like that. So they're doing that with the family. And then we go to the front of the house and a tree has actually fallen down, right? A tree has fallen down. He's out in the middle of nowhere. A tree's fallen down, taking out part of the deck. He actually took out the sliding glass door to the master as well. And it's been like that for a while, but he just hasn't been able to deal with the insurance company and get that fixed. And the rest of the deck honestly needs to be replaced. And then he wants to landscape out part of the driveway, because it's a probably the steepest driveway I've ever gone up. Like I was like, I am not sure if I'm gonna get up this thing, but somebody lives here, so cars must be able to make it. So I just went for it. And but he wants to like level that out. So he's got to do a lot of dirt work for that. So there's landscaping around the property that he's got to do. And that's just on the outside. You go inside, he's like partly painted the inside of the house. He's got the paint tape up and the plastic up. And mind you, 3 kids, a wife, a couple of, oh, and I forgot the 3 cattle dogs that they're training, right? In addition to all the other animals. And so all this stuff going on. Then we walk inside the house, not only all the paint and all that, but he's got all the, he's going to put down new floors. He's got all the flooring for new. This is a true story. This was just a couple days ago. So I'm not like making this crap up. He's got all the flooring, but it's just sitting there in the living room. And while this is going on, the wife's loading everybody up to go to sports practice because their kids are involved in sports. And so they got to go to the practice and the games and they travel and all this stuff. And so then she leaves and I ask and I'm like, dude, like, how are you going to get all this done? Like there's a lot of stuff here. And you say you want to move tomorrow. He's like, thanks for asking me after the wife left because she's kind of on me to get all this stuff done, but I just don't have the time. I'm just so tired. I'm spread so thin. And so what's the takeaway from all this? My knee-jerk reaction, I'm ashamed to say, was, dude, just finish the projects. Like start a project, finish the project, like then move on to the next project. Like simple. But how often in our lives are we not doing that? Like how many unfinished projects are there in your life? How many things are happening in your life that maybe you really shouldn't be focusing on? Like this could be your business life, this could be your family life, this could be your personal life, like with other relationships that you have. But how often are we doing the same thing? And if Johnny were to walk in and do a listing appointment on your life, what would he see, right? Like what would Valerie or Barry or Susan see if they walked in and did a listing appointment on my life, right? So what I encourage you to do is kind of take an audit as we're moving into this business planning phase of the year and just kind of figure out what is it you can go deep on and what it is you can cut. Warren Buffett, we all know Warren Buffett, not Jimmy Buffett, who recently passed, RIP. Warren Buffett, both super wealthy white guys, but Warren Buffett at times has been the wealthiest guy in the world. Probably the most famous investor of our time, if not the most successful investor of our time. And he was recently asked, hey, you know, Warren, like, I have all these goals. I want to be successful. What can I do to, you know, increase the odds of me being successful? And so Warren said, write down 25 things you would like to accomplish in life. Write them down. So the dude writes them down. He's like, pick the top 5. So he circles the top 5. And then Warren says, cut everything else out. Only focus on the top 5 until those 5 are complete. So as you're going through your business plan, this is coming from a billionaire, and also not like a billionaire who like invented something and sold it and made a ton of money and, you know, is 32 years old. This dude's like 90 years old, lived a lot of life, seen a lot of life. And he's saying, just focus on those 5 things. So I'd encourage you to focus in your personal life and in your business life. Like, what are the 5 things you want out of life? Because we only have so many trips around the sun, and you only get one life. So what is it you want out of that? Is this resonating? Is this good?
Yeah,
Yes.
awesome.
That's good. Okay. So some tips on how to clear the clutter. Something I've been doing for years now, it drives Valerie absolutely crazy, is I try to find one thing a week to donate in the house. At times I've thought about donating the dog or the kid, but Valerie's told me I'm not allowed to do that. But try to find one thing in your house that you can donate. It might be a power strip. It might be some clothes that you haven't worn in a long time. It might be, you know, some furniture that sit in the garage or some decorations that you never intend to use again. Like there's always something that you can cut. And the reason why you want to do that is 1, it keeps you kind of like your house a little bit more tidy. And 2, it really just keeps your focus on like what in my life, like that's my trigger every Sunday. What can I cut in my business? What can I cut in my life? And sometimes you have to cut relationships, right? Sometimes it's friends, sometimes it's family. And those aren't always easy to cut, or you're not even able to cut them, right? So there's people in my life that even though I'm around them and I love them and they're close to me, I can never cut them just because of who they are, but I do have to curtail their influence on me, on my wife and my family. So just be thinking about that. Who is it maybe that you could curtail their influence on you on a day-to-day basis? Because that's narrowing your focus. If you're thinking about them, their problems, if they're injecting issues into your life that's pulling you away from those 5 goals, you're going to need to curtail that influence. So I would encourage you to think about something that you can cut, something about some people that you can either limit their influence on or go deep on. Something that Valerie and I have been focused on heavily these last 24 months is going deep with a few relationships, just going super deep. And that has had more of an impact on our business than anything else. So for example, Brent, we all know Brent, we all love Brent, right? He's the reason why we're all sitting here today. If I hadn't gotten the office across from Brent, there's 0 chance that I would have ended up running Brent's team. And if I wasn't running Brent's team, there's 0 chance that Tom Daves would have wanted to partner with us. Okay. And so by going deep on those few relationships has not only had a profound impact on our business, but on our personal lives as well. So just be thinking about what it is you can cut as you're in this season of business planning and what it is you want. You can only focus on 5 things max. So are you going to focus on open houses? Are you going to really double down on your sphere and reach out to them every 90 days? Maybe do pop buys and drop by gifts. We did a raffle for our team, all of our past clients and stuff. And anybody who submitted was, all they had to do was just put their name in and they were entered in to win this raffle. And I'll tell you what, it was so much fun to go to a client's house last night. I've been and give them a big green egg. We got them a barbecue, and this was, it was not cheap, but man, the kids were all excited. The husband was like all excited to barbecue on this thing, and the wife was excited for the husband to barbecue on the thing so he can make dinner instead of her making dinner. Like it was just a special thing. So are you going to focus on your sphere? Are you going to focus on paid ads? If you are, what's your follow-up going to be? Are you going to focus on vendor relationships? Another thing that's really helped our business is our partnership with Lindsay and JJ. They are phenomenal lenders. They get the job done. And we've made more money as a team because of that partnership. So who is it that you want to partner with? Who is it you're gonna yoke yourself? You want to be evenly yoked, right? As the Bible says. So who are you going to tether yourself with as you're going through this crazy market? Because it's not supposed to get any better. Right? It's the next 6 to 10 months. It's supposed to be just as hard, if not harder, than what we're currently experiencing. So, any questions, any thoughts, anything anybody wants to add to that? I don't want to just be the only one monologuing. Oh, I'm monologuing. So good.
I like that story. Yeah, just segue into that.
Thank you. Thank you. So, with that, what is one thing? Let's just go around the room really quick. And online, go ahead, come off mute. What is one thing that you are either going to cut out of your life or you want to go deep on? Like you can say relationships, you can say, yeah. So for me, our focus in 2023 is streamlining all the different things that we have going on in our business and narrowing it down to 5 things. So we're focusing on radio, we're focusing on fellow, we're focusing on investor relationships, and then and the sphere, and then we're trying to figure out the 5th one. But those are the 4 things we're focusing on. Anybody want to share?
I'll share.
Go ahead, Amber.
Definitely, I really like what you said. It really sucked. It makes me, when I leave here, want to go make 100 calls.
Yeah, let's go.
My follow-up, scheduling in time to do the follow-ups, no matter what you have, like making that a priority, open houses and just cutting out kind of maybe friendships that just kind of seem always, every time you talk to them, it's always negative or bad things, or just because, you want to listen, you want to help, but it kind of gives you that energy of like, okay, well, I'm trying to be positive and happy. I gotta go.
Yeah.
So just kind of those things.
You're going to kill the open houses, by the way. I can tell.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Who else? Go ahead.
I want to cut out senseless wastes of time.
Got it.
Like-
What's one thing?
Well, video games.
You play video games?
I do.
I would not have taken you to be a gamer. Dude, you're like an onion. You got layers.
I do, I'm sorry to say.
No, there's no need there. No need to apologize. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Anybody online? Oh yeah, go ahead. Christina?
Yeah, I liked what you said about going deeper with relationships. So just within this my sphere, going deeper with relationships, and then within that, finding those people I can go even deeper with, just building up those relationships really strong.
Love it. Love it. Fantastic. All right, do we have one more online or in the room?
I was gonna say,
Go ahead.
after the last PCAR event, they were really talking about, managing your time, like, so one of my goals after that meeting was to really set periods of time to time block better.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot of times business can kind of take over your day, you get pulled in different directions. And so really making that a priority to time block, and you can really get a lot done in an hour if it's,
There you go.
if it's uninterrupted, you schedule that time and make it happen. So that was a great takeaway from last week. It's something that I'm diving in on to make sure that, making those calls happen and not just letting, a list.
I know it's so easy. Like
It
you
happens.
do it, and it's like, why don't I do that more? It's like
Mhm.
exercising.
And
You're
it feels
healthy,
so
you know?
accomplished.
Yes.
You set up a list, you check it off. It feels good.
Awesome.
That
Good
was
stuff.
fun.
All right, team. Well, if there's nobody else, we're gonna keep it short. No point to. Oh,
Mariah has.
Mariah, what do you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Mariah still there?
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I loved what you said, Johnny, about the relationships. And it kind of reminded me of something I recently went with, that I went through. I've had a best friend since I was about 2 years old. I've known her for 35 years, and I've shown her several houses. And I found out from her daughter last week that they bought a house with a different realtor. And it absolutely crushed my soul because, I watch her kids. I've helped her through hardship. And it's something that my husband has been saying for a long time, the relationship that I needed to cut off. Long story short, I cut that relationship off. And it wasn't necessarily because she didn't use me. It was just that at that amount of effort, and she was my best friend, and I've given her business, and so if she would have been straight up, I would have been okay with it. But since I have cut that relationship off, I have gained 5 more clients that are looking as buyers, and the positivity in my life has just absolutely skyrocketed. As crushed as I was that week, it's just been amazing. And so I really encourage everyone to really look and define your relationships as we're going through this year planning, and really think about, like, who in your circle is positive, who in your circle is taking away from you and taking negativity away from your life and adding stress. Cut that out. You don't need it, and it's not for your benefit. And once you clear that negative space, positivity will just bless you significantly. So that's my biggest takeaway. And so I'm looking at all the relationships in my life now, being like, okay, who's negative and who's positive, who's taking and who's blessing.
Yeah. So we call them, I don't know where we picked it up, sweetheart, but plus and minuses, Ronnie. Yeah. What's his last name? So now I'm nervous about all the names. Ronnie, super solid guy, lives out in Carmichael here locally, and his family does a thing called plus or minuses. Is this person a plus? Or even if their kids are misbehaving, hey, is the kid being a plus or a minus? But what you touched on, I'm so glad you touched on that, Mariah, is the fear around cutting. Like it can be getting rid of that t-shirt, or it can be getting rid of a friend you've had since you were 2. It does not feel good to just think about it or even to do it. But the benefit on the backside, if it was really meant to happen, if you were really meant to get rid of that t-shirt, or that
Absolutely.
friend, it's such a freeing feeling, and it just opens up that space that was full for somebody else, for more good things to come in.
Absolutely. And I'm so
thank you for
incredibly
sharing that.
I'm really grateful now that all happened. As hard as it was, I'm very grateful because I got more clients and my life is better.
There you go. It's a win. And then last but certainly not least, please. Yeah. You'll close it, Eric. You'll close it.
All right.
Michael, did you have your hand raised, or did you want me to read the note? I'm just going to read it. So Michael's goal is to really deeply refine his follow-up. So that's solid. That is definitely something that if you're not have that locked in, you want to lock that in 2024. Good stuff. All right. And then last but certainly not least, Eric, what do you got?
I just want to talk about prospecting for a little bit. And
I got a text from a friend of mine today. And it was a video of a couple of heating and air conditioning guys. They were at his house fixing his heating unit. And he was enrolling them, these technicians, into reading his book. And so he sent me this video conveying that. In other words, he was prospecting the heating and air people that were at his house. And so prospecting is something that it's available all the time in so many different ways. And I heard Johnny was acknowledging you about open houses. So like something that probably a lot of people don't do when they do an open house is maybe get there a little bit early and knock the neighbors' doors. So that would be a good idea, right? Do an open house, check in with the neighbors. So why would somebody not do that if that's a good idea? Lazy's probably a piece of it, but they're pretty motivated if they're doing the open house. So why would, just think about yourself or somebody else, why would they not do it?
Don't believe in it.
They don't wanna disturb the people that they're not gonna do.
It really comes down to fear.
Yeah.
It comes to fear. And so the whole thing with prospecting, like it would be a great idea if you were doing an open house to knock the doors, right? It'd be a great idea to, if you want to do an open house tomorrow and you didn't have one, to prospect agents that had the house that maybe you could hold open for them, right? And so what holds us back is fear. And it's not just prospecting. It's like that conversation you need to have with your spouse or your kid, and it's uncomfortable, so you don't have it, right? I was raised in a home, we didn't talk about stuff. Is anybody else raised in a home where you didn't talk, right? Like, why don't we talk about stuff? Because of fear. So what I teach with prospecting is we don't focus on the other person. So like in the knocking on the door and bothering them, we're not looking at what's their response. We're focused on our activity. It's a pivot. It's a shift, because if I focus on their response, I could probably talk myself out of doing the prospecting. So Brent, in part of my relationship with him, so if you guys don't know, I'm not a licensed real estate agent. I'm a sales coach, and I sit here pretty much every Thursday. You're going to find me in the front row. And so one of the things that Brent recently has allowed me to do, because I presented it to him, was to train on prospecting every Wednesday. So every Wednesday I'm doing a Zoom, and EXP agents from all over the world are gathering, and we train, and then we actually prospect right in class. And they're done and they're recorded. So you come live and I'm there live, but if you weren't there yesterday and we got great feedback on yesterday, if you want the recording, then I'm going to put my cell phone up here on, and you can just text me and just ask me to send you the recordings and how to get on that call. And that's open for you and everybody in your organization. So if you have a team or if you have an organization, you can let them know this guy, professional sales trainer, he's training EXP agents for free. And it's just pure training. There's no other agenda on that call. So I want you just to think about, if you want to get better at prospecting, and I'll wrap with this, the way to get better at anything is we got to lift the weights. Okay. If I want to change my body, I got to get in the gym and lift the weights, or get on a treadmill, or get in the pool and swim, or do my walking steps, or jump rope, or I got to do something. So if you want to get better at prospecting, the only way that I know how to do it is you got to work at it. So is there anybody here in this room that would acknowledge there's some room for you to improve in prospecting? Would anybody acknowledge that? Okay. If that's you, here's an opportunity every week, live or the recording, super easy to get on there. And I can teach you how to become a master of prospecting if you want to get that good. And how I got the account with Brent is I prospected him. For years. Years I prospected him. And then I got the appointment with him. And I'm gonna say one last thing and I'm done. When I got the deal with Brent, I pitched him on an idea, and I prospected him over text. Hey, Brent, I got this idea. Can I talk to you about it? He goes, okay, what's the idea? So I told him the idea. And he goes, I don't like it. I'm like, okay, you don't like door number one? All right, here, I got door number two. Hey, how about this one? He goes, I don't like that one either. He's like, how about this? Why don't you come into my office tomorrow and let's have a conversation? So I pitched him on two ideas, and I swung and missed on both. And he still met with me. So you don't have to have the perfect script. Your energy, it matters. So if you'll just reach out to people and swing the bat, and you never know, like today you swing and miss, and then a week later they call you and they're like, hey, I got an opportunity. Hey, I need your help. Hey, can we have a conversation? So if you want to learn how to become fearless, plug in, shoot me a text. I'll get you all the info. I can send you yesterday's recording if you want to check it out. And you'll find me here pretty much every week, sitting up here in the front, okay?
Hey, just one note on that, Johnny, just to make sure everybody understands. He did say that it was a free call. It's actually not a free call. It's just not being paid for by you. So when you tell people to come on the call, don't tell them it's a free call, tell them it's paid for by EXP. Because his coaching is being paid for by Brent for your team. And it's expensive and it's worth you getting into. So I want to get on the call as well. And so just
Good
want
stuff,
to.
yeah.
Thank you, Barry.
Yep. Show up like you paid for it.
Right.
Show up like you paid for it.
There you go. That's
All right.
good.
All right, that's all we have for today. Look forward to seeing you next week when we talk about open houses. Take care.